Damien, Ashley, and I was on the shoe. It was the first time I ever met Don. I literally got told half hour before he turned up that this gentleman called Don was turning up. Didn't know what he did, what he does, how he was personally. But yeah, that was the first time I met Don. What Don does is completely different to what I've seen before. I wouldn't say his techniques are normal to what people do in a ghost hunt. Don's definitely got something different than others. So we decided to just stay quiet, see what we could hear, see if anything actually happened, and lo and behold, a voice between us said, "We will kill you," and it was a kind of weird experience because we were both silent and we both turned and looked at each other and was like, what was that? But yeah, that was a really good experience because I've never heard a voice like that, as clear as that before.
My young daughter was in bed and woke up saying there was a man in the bedroom, and I woke up and said there wasn't anybody in the bedroom and to go back to sleep, but she persistently kept saying there's a man in the bedroom. She went down the bed to get away from him and was just crying and screaming that there was a man in the room, and obviously I didn't see anybody in the room, but she adamantly said there was somebody in there. Obviously after that had happened, I just thought, just forget about it, you know, she's only a little girl and everything, but then I sort of started to notice little things happening myself with, you know, you could hear footsteps on the landing, and noises in the bedroom, like somebody walking round the bed, and a lot of noises in the bathroom as well. I thought I was going a bit mad. I thought I was imagining things and, you know, it's all in my head, but I think deep down I knew that something was happening in my house.
If anyone came up to me and asked me about this case, the sceptics mainly, she was right to be distressed. I mean, I'm quite not a sceptic. I'm open-minded, but when you come into a house and then you hear a voice saying "we will kill you," it's not something to be sceptical about. I heard it with my own ears. I was definitely sure it wasn't Don. I know what his voice sounds like, and yeah, anyone try and challenge that, it's a bit silly. There is something in this house. My sole job is to be a camera technician. Paranormal investigations is not my forte, but I did set up an EVP stage for myself for sound. Don obviously was capturing EVPs as well, and the EVPs that were captured were very interesting because they weren't just random noises, they were very clear. We heard names, answers. They were very, very interesting, especially from someone that doesn't investigate and is usually very open-minded about this kind of subject.
After a while I started to believe that what I was hearing was actually real, to the point where I was not sleeping at night. I was sort of sleeping with one eye open, and then obviously I started getting scratches on my arm. In the middle of the night I'd wake up in the morning and I'd got scratches down my arm and down my legs for no reason. At the point where it was beginning to scare me, I thought I really, really need some help here. So obviously I had to act to protect myself and my family. I knew I needed help, but I didn't know who to call. Obviously people are going to judge me and say you're just making it up, and a lot of people did think that I was making it up and it was all in my head. But I couldn't take it anymore and I needed to get some help. At this point I decided that I could get somebody in, so I got a couple of mediums to come out to the property. I didn't feel like they could help me at all, and I didn't feel like they helped me at all. and they sort of left, and I still didn't feel safe in my own home, and I didn't feel like I wanted to be there anymore. So I think I needed somebody more experienced who knew exactly what they were doing.
As I said, I was here. I witnessed it with my own ears. What we heard, it was very clear. It just raises more questions in my mind. As someone that's open-minded, I'm leaning more on the paranormal side. Definitely heard, "We will kill you." Definitely heard, "Get out." And people weren't here to witness that. It's a shame because it was such good evidence.
People can't imagine how scary it is to not want to live in your own home and try and stay out of it as long as possible each day. It's not very nice. It's very scary actually. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I didn't know what to do, I didn't know who to call, and a friend of mine recommended Don. The night Don was here sorting things out, a lot of people here that heard really bad threatening voices coming out of nowhere.
At the end of the shoot, me and a team member, Rachel, our job was to unplug all the equipment and bring it all back down to pack away. We were upstairs, we were unplugging our equipment, and it's clear as day, word for word, all windows were shut up here. We heard, "Get out." We both looked at each other, kind of like, "Did you hear that?" And it was like, well, yeah, it was pretty clear what it said and what it did, what it wanted us to do. But as we just carried on, and I'm sure she'll collaborate on that.
And I would say to anybody, and I mean anybody, who's going through the same as what I have been through for this last year, please tell somebody and get some help, because you can't live like it, because it takes over your life, it ruins your life, and it affects every part of your life. So get help.
As someone that came into this house open-minded a year ago, the voices that I heard clear as day, and it's a shame that people at home couldn't have experienced what I experienced. It was certainly something that changed my view.
It was interesting because Don had just created a something called a devil trap, and this particular nasty spirit that we were dealing with in this room that we're in now, which is Andrea's main bedroom, this spirit wouldn't come anywhere near the board, and Don did what he did. He had his digital recorder. It was at that point afterwards, when Archangel Michael came through, that this negative spirit disappeared. And my goodness me, it was an investigation that I will never ever forget. Being inside this room that I'm in now, with my fellow colleague Alison, I'm getting tingles just thinking about it really, and oh my goodness. Basically, Archangel Michael, for those of the viewers that maybe not too familiar with the different angels and you know, the higher beings, so to speak, that's out there. There is one, which is it's called Archangel Michael, and unbelievable. We really did hear the voice saying Archangel Michael, and I was gobsmacked. Alison, very rare for her to be gobsmacked, but my goodness me, we were both gobsmacked.
My stress levels are just unbearable at the minute.
Don's just finished doing what he does. It's just gone outside for a little bit of a breather. He's going to come back in and then just go round each room of the building, and just to see if there's anything negative or any other spirits there, minus his guys, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's two two pieces of evidence, recordings that I want to touch on right now with you. The first one is this demonic screech. You heard that?
Yeah, it was awful. It
Didn't sound good, did it?
it didn't sound good. No, it was pretty freaky, that one.
But what about this? And if this is the man himself, then my goodness, what a privilege it must be for Don.
Yeah.
But for us to be here, there's just myself, you, and Don.
Yeah.
Human here in this house. But the recording of St. Michael. How did that make you feel when you heard that? Because I literally was tingling all over.
Yeah. It was just.
In fact,
amazing.
Don, is that you?
It is.
Mate, we're just talking about St. Michael recording. Can you just play that back to us?
I've just been listening to it again outside.
Have you?
A human voice. Is it? What am I waiting for? Is it? What am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? A human voice. Is it? What am I waiting for?
I get excited when there are voices that you can hear, like human voices is what I call them. And that clearly was a human voice. Knowing how petrified Andrea was, it's like almost seeing a new person. And it's like she's got her home back. And I think without Don, that certainly couldn't have happened.
One thing about the shoot for the whole night, meeting Dom for the first time, I would definitely say that I would work with him again. He was professional, he listened to everyone and what their opinion was on certain things, and it actually was a pleasure to work with him. And the voice that we both heard at the same time was pretty good. Especially as the first time I met him, getting a good experience like that is definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Don promised me my house back that night, and I got my house back that night, and I am so grateful to him. And I've made some long life friends.
There's two new uploads coming to the channel in the next few days. One of them is the case I'm on currently, which is really quite a serious case. It is a poltergeist case. The mother got in contact reporting activity, no different to many people do contact me every year and report some of the things. This, however, is slightly different. The house is a stone's throw from the church. There's talk of underground tunnels that go through under the house to the church, through the cemetery. We've recovered 200-year-old deeds from the attic. The client in question is obviously quite nervous by some of the occurrences that have taken place. One of those instances was when she was laying in bed in the early hours and felt the presence of a male standing over her. Normally that would be nothing more than a claim, and a lot of people would put that down to psychological. My client had no interest in hauntings or paranormal. She was just living a normal daily life. What is interesting about this is she grabbed her phone and took a picture into the darkness. When she looked at the picture, she couldn't see anything. The picture was obviously quite black. She sent that photograph to a top photographers, which I have verified. I've also got the picture she took and the enhanced version which came back from the photographers, and what it reveals is really quite remarkable. So all that's coming up in the next few days. As always guys, thanks for your support, lots to come. I'll see you soon.